Namaste, everyone. Today, a few of us have gathered here today to talk about Seva. Let's start off with a few introductions of our group, starting with Avani.
Hi guys, I'm Avani Rai and I'm from Bloomington, Illinois. I'm going into my sophomore year and Seva has always been a big part of my life.
Hi, I'm Manasi and I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I just finished my third year of university.
Hi, my name is Siddharth. I am a rising 8th grader and I'm from Cary, North Carolina.
Namaste everyone. My name's Shambhavi. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I'm a rising freshman.
And namaste, everyone. Myself, Arya Shukla. I live in Cupertino, California, and I am a rising sophomore. Now, going back to how we stumbled upon our Seva topic from the Geet Sewa Hai Yagna Kund, which is a Sangha Geet that has been recently introduced to us through a project. At the base level, Seva means service, obviously, but it means just so much more than that, and we will dive right into that later on in this podcast, and also discuss a few of our individual experiences, along with a few experiences from a Karyakarta. Now, first led by Shambhavi, we will delve into the meaning of the Geet, which explores the deeper meaning of Seva.
So overall, the Geet is about Seva. HSS, or Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh, encourages people to come forward and take part in this. We should stand united in order to achieve greater things and common goals. When we do Seva, we don't look at who we are serving. We simply serve everyone who is in need. This builds relations with the community, naturally creates brotherhood, and helps to achieve our goal. We all will feel like family soon. Doing Seva should be a part of our daily routine, and if it isn't, then you should incorporate it in your life. Just by doing this, we shouldn't feel like we are doing special work or that we are special because we are doing what is natural to us. Having a service-oriented mind is beneficial for doing Seva and work in general. We shouldn't feel any hatred or bitterness towards others. These qualities should be acquired in order to do Seva in the best way we can.
All right, so now that we've given an overview of the Geet that started this discussion, let's talk a little more deeply about what exactly Seva is. And now, to have this discussion, we are going to ask members of our team some questions that we've come up with ourselves. And we hope to bring this conversation a variety of new perspectives from a variety of different ages, areas, and regions. So, Siddharth, take it away.
Namaste. We're here to discuss our personal experiences. I was introduced to Seva through a program led by our school where we would help autistic children go throughout their day. Now, what about you guys? How are you introduced to Seva?
I was introduced to Seva quite literally through the organization Seva International. You might have all heard of the annual Diwali food drive that Seva International has been running for several years now. And that's how I was really brought into the organization and also the act of Seva. So I was 8 years old when it first started, and I remember going door to door in my neighborhood and practicing a speech and getting it all ready in hopes that people would donate. And I must say, at first I was nervous, like any 8-year-old would be. I was scared to do it, and I wasn't sure what the reaction would be. But one thing that my parents told me that really has stuck with me even today is when you're doing the right thing, you don't have to worry about what anyone else thinks because it's the right thing to do. And so I did it, and we ended up having great success. And then I continued to do it the next year and the following year. And even now today, it's still something that I take great pride and excitement in doing.
I was introduced to Seva through Shaka. That's, I guess, where you could say I was introduced to more of the topic itself or concept, because we always learn, whenever you do service or volunteer, you're going to do it without expecting anything in return. It's a very common theme. And I also remember at SSB camp at Sangha Shiksha Varg, the Seva International organization that you were a part of me. I remember seeing the t-shirts and everything. Yeah, that's how I was first introduced.
Yeah, just like Manasi said, I was also introduced to Seva through Sang. So I've been going to Shaka since I was like a little kid and things. And then they would always like be going into like Seva projects and there'd all be like, these like types of things just going around. But I think I went deeper into it actually recently, like during my Kishore years actually. I've been like more a part of Seva. I think last summer I did a like summer camp or like summer internship type thing with Seva. It was called Seva Lead Program. And it was for like teenagers like me. And I actually like um, hands-on did a Seva project, which was assisting with Camp Fire, which was like this huge fire that happened in California. Some of you may have heard. So yeah, I did a lot of Seva work throughout the summer. So yeah, that's how I first got introduced to Seva. And I think just like Manasi said that like it's like I've started hearing the word Seva like from song because I feel like they preach it a lot. So yeah.
I actually got introduced to Seva pretty recently compared to you guys. I joined Shaka when I moved to Texas, which was like 3 years ago. So then I started getting involved more and more in Shaka, and then I started to be part of more Seva projects. Like we recently helped some senior citizens with the food for during these tough times during COVID-19. And about a year ago, we went to the food banks and volunteered there. So, yeah.
Over all these years of doing Seva, what were your favorite Seva activities that you remember the most?
Okay, I'll get this one started. So I think for me personally, I kind of like the Seva projects where I could get like, I guess I could be more personal with it. So like for example, like during the Corona time, a few Seva projects that were introduced were like card making or things like that. So I kind of liked having like putting my own personal touch on it. Just made it feel like more like intimate, I guess, in a way. But yeah, there were projects like that where I could get creative and put my own touch on it were like kind of my favorites.
Yeah, I think I relate to what Arya said, but in a sort of different way. For me, it was getting personal, not necessarily with the project itself, but getting personal with the people that the project would eventually help. So, for example, we would create cards for Operation Santa, which helps soldiers serving overseas during the holiday season. And meeting former veterans who were coming back to the program and things like that, that really made the lasting impact on not just me, but I want to say all of the youth who participated in those activities. And I think that's really what keeps them that's what keeps them coming back to doing Seva, is making that human, personal connection is what really brings you back to doing Seva.
I sort of agree with Avni on that because my favorite activity is actually going to the temple and like going early in the morning and helping them make food. So while serving the food, you get to talk with different people and learn what they've been doing or how they are. So just about communication for me.
Nice. Okay, so you guys have been doing Seva for a long time. What did you guys really take away from all your years of doing Seva activities?
I think for myself, I continue to do Seva because of the feeling that you get. And it's also a rare thing to see sometimes where people are doing stuff um, without expecting anything in return. Initially, sometimes when you get others to do Seva, they might not be as passionate, but once they are introduced to that, then they get the feeling like, oh hey, like this is beneficial for them. The act or the result of helping someone else, that feeling, like that's what makes me continue to do Seva and participate.
Yeah, I think also one thing I took away from like these civic activities was just like it kind of like helped me gain like a new perspective on things. Like I just felt like oh, like I really am privileged. Like there's a lot of people out there in need, in times of need, and like they don't have like many like usually like basic necessities or like basic resources and things like that. So just made me feel like you know, with my privilege, I have the opportunity to help out other people, and so yeah, it was a good feeling.
Okay, thank you guys for answering all those questions. Now let's give it to Arya.
That was a great discussion, and I think we received a lot of insight on the deeper meaning of Seva. Now moving on to some experiences from a Karyakarta. Please welcome Ganeshji, who is originally from Chennai, Tamil Nadu, Bharat. He has a bachelor's of electrical and computer engineering. Currently, he's residing in Sammamish, Washington, and he is a program manager at UST Global. In Sangh, he serves the role of Washington Vibhag Seva Pramukh, and some Seva projects that he has been involved with include Anna Lakshmi, Adopt a Road, Vigyagan Pathshala, and Neighborhood Seva.
Namaste. So,
Namaste.
So returning back to the Geet that we talked about earlier on, Sewa Hai Yagna Kund, it refers to how we should do seva. So similar to Samhita offered into the holy fire, it doesn't stay the same and it burns itself to serve a purpose. So Ganeshji, how do you interpret this translation?
Yeah, thanks. I think this Geet, I mean, I was going through multiple times. Even there are a lot of different interpretation people can get into that. Basically, yagna means sacrifice, okay, worship or offering, right? We always do yagna for various reasons. One common reason is the woods, the samhita that we put in the yajna, right? It basically cleanses the air and it illuminates knowledge. Okay, that is one way of interpretation. But when it comes to seva, I would interpret we are burning ourselves. We in the sense our karyakartas, our seva volunteers, right? They put lot of time, effort. Sometimes money as well, okay, but nobody expects anything in return, right? So it completely transforms a person from a normal being to a service oriented. So that is a good interpretation I can say about this.
Okay, I see. That definitely gives more insight into this line. Some similar to how the Samhita, it doesn't stay the same. Personally, how has Seva changed you?
That's a nice question. See, seva has transformed. I would say not only me, my family, my neighbors, my friends, colleagues, right? Whoever is part of the seva, whoever knows that this kind of seva is happening, right? I think everybody has a kind of a transformation, and I always try to remember this line. It's called Jivanam Bhavatu Sartakam. That means let our lives be purposeful. So why we are here, what we are doing here, right? There are a lot of questions people have many times. So I would simply think we have to do something for the community, nothing in return. Whatever we can, we should do. That's my principle.
Thank you for sharing your principle. So another part of the Geet, it expresses having that service-oriented mind, and how that's the essence and core of our work. So what are some characteristics you would say that are consistent with having a service-oriented mindset?
So being in a service, I would say it's always the personalities may differ, right? So one thing we should be, I think in the Geet it says that you shouldn't think about any monetary benefit. You shouldn't. You should always have the service minded with you, right? Don't expect for praise. Don't get into criticism. Don't think about profit, right? So the core qualities I would believe is like you should always have empathy. You should always think a foresight view. You need to always have the awareness towards the service. I think those are the core qualities that any Seva Karyakartas or any volunteer should have.
Okay, that kind of ties into my next question, which was like, what traits would be considered consistent in all swayamsevaks and sevikas, like you were mentioning at the end there.
I would say our Swayamsevaks or Karyakartas or volunteers from Seva, right? They should not fall into these traits like not being listening to what people are saying, right? Not giving the conceptualization towards the work. And of course, they should have the commitment to the growth and development of the people. I think in building community, we always need that. I would say two major things, as I already mentioned, right? One is empathy and having the foresight. That's very important for the Seva.
Thank you. So I think all of us can see how much of an overlap there is between having a service-oriented mindset and the traits that all swayamsevaks and sevikas are expected to have. So it really proves how much seva is integral and meaningful in Sangh.
Absolutely.
Thank you for those empowering thoughts, Ganeshji. I feel like it was a very great way to round off our discussion on Seva and the Geet. So now that we've come to the end of our podcast, let's review what we've discussed today. We started out with the broad idea of Seva, a term so frequently used in Sangh and which is usually translated into service. However, through the discussions we've had today, starting with the dissection of the Geet, Sewa Hai Yagna Kund, followed by an open discussion with youth dedicated to Seva, and finally an interview with Ganeshji, we've driven deeper into what exactly Seva means and how it can be applied to the daily lives of each and every single person. Through this, we've learned just how important Seva is to a functioning society and the impact it can have on those who partake in it, ultimately showing that Seva truly is more than just service.